Okay, so let me show you what we've done today with SuperLoser and with and K2. So I need to, this is kind of my objectives for today or this morning, probably to more like today at the rate things are going. And that's kind of the way it always is. We want to create a page that takes the weight from a URL and records it. So that's going to be clickable usually from an email initially. The URL is clickable obviously to a specific weight, and the user will click that from an email. I just said that. So and then it should redirect. It should actually use a token and some other stuff here. Okay, we'll get to all that. So what have we done? I can show you this secret config file because there's nothing actually secret in it. So I've added app root URL just to simplify things. And that's kind of the root URL for, my workspace. And then, links are generated off of that. In the admin package, this is the code that creates the email that's sent out. I've tried to format it so that it's easy to read. That's why you kind of see some of the spacing here. We just want it to kind of be easy to find in the email where things are. And we can, later on down the road, this should be easy to refactor. Like we could just refactor that section or refactor the ending and have multiple endings or something like that. So that's all stuff can happen down the road. We don't want to overthink it. But the links are what I want you to see here. So we send out these links, like a bunch of little links, and you can just click the one that matches your weight for the day. It makes it easy to kind of log your, if you want to do it this way, it makes it easy to record your weight just by clicking a link from a reminder email once a day. And so I did discover this, I didn't know about this, Apex page get URL, which makes it a little easier to add variables. I was doing that manually myself with all the colons and counting the colons, and that was kind of ridiculous. So I am glad that I've discovered Apex page get URL. For the application, again, I'm using get app ID, which is what this Apex util 2 is doing is it's actually checking to see if the global Apex context value is set, and if not, it's looking in our K2 config. So I've got that set to app ID 100. So this is kind of a fallback that allows us to kind of test from SQL Plus a little easier without having to create a Apex session context and that kind of thing. So this does become a configuration item that could get out of sync. We do check for global context first, which is the truth. And if that's not there, then we're going to fall back on this. So there's still the potential for mistake, but we've kind of reduced the mistake. Now, there may be other ways I can get app ID. Like for me, no, I'm not sure I can. I'm not sure I can know that from SQL Plus, really. So this is the way we're doing it. So you do have to manage your variables and make sure when you're setting up an environment that you've gone through and set all these things up. Some of these things can be alleviated. Risks can be alleviated in the future by checks, things like that. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Let's go back to our admin code. So we get the page URL. This is just like the ending part, not the root. And then we use that new value, that app root URL here, URL, and add page URL, current weight. And you can kind of see that creates a link. And then let's see if I can get to this. So that is the link that gets generated. And if I put that in the browser, this initially didn't come up because we had checksums. So if the default for a page here is arguments must have a checksum. So I had to change that to unrestricted. A suggestion for anyone in Oracle, it would be nice to have, what would be really cool long term would be like little tutorials linked under each one of these, and creating, so you should better understand it. Like I'm not entirely sure how to include a checksum. I did a little Googling, and look like if I generate a session, I get the checksum is the session ID. And but then that might not work from an email because that session wouldn't exist, and things like that. So I wasn't sure. Now there are ways you can like in the token that I'm going to include, I could actually assign, that could be a signed token for the value, and if the value doesn't match the token then, or the, things like that you can do. This isn't a high security application. I don't really need to do that, but those are things you could do. But we're just change this to unrestricted. And now, if you have a text box which matches this, it gets filled in. So the next thing to do is we've got to add some kind of token to this that says, yes, this token has the link. That's just by showing this link and knowing that token, you now have the authority to record that weight to a specific user's account. And we're going to do an auto login and redirect them to the record page. So that's what I've got to do next. All right, thanks. And like and subscribe, of course, and share, all that.